Welcome to the only wrestling podcast that covers the WWE developmental system from its inception to modern day. From OVW to MCW, the HWA, Deep South, FCW, and much more. Hosted by Brian Asbury and Mortimer Blankenship. Now let's dive into what could have been, what should have been. Welcome to Developmentally Speaking.
Hey, before we get in this episode, can you do us a favor? Will you go ahead and subscribe to the channel?
Will you ring that notification bell?
And if you would, give this video a like. Well, enough of that mumbo jumbo. Let's get to the episode.
Let's talk developmentally speaking, glow up, and connecting through wrestling.
Hey everybody, I'm Morty.
And I'm Brian.
And on today's episode of Developmentally Speaking, we have one half of the Highlanders, Robbie McAllister. Robbie, how's it going?
I'm pretty good, you guys. Can't complain. I'm Robbie, and I'm ready for your questions.
Fantastic. So, the first question I ask everybody. What made you want to get into professional wrestling?
Well, I watched it as a kid, and it was like one of those dreams I wanted to do when I was like 8 years old. Even my brother's buddy, he was a lot older than me, but I remember back then. I used to have this stop sign, like just a little hand stop sign, like the guy down, to walk the kids across. And I remember he really liked wrestling. I said we could be a tag team. We could be Billy and Bobby Crosswalk and hit each other with the hit each other with the stop sign. So that was basically where the dream started. And of course, you dreams come and go, and you try different things. And later it came back, and boom, I became a professional wrestler.
So, even at a young age, you were creating gimmicks for yourself, huh?
Well, yeah, back then, yeah, it's funny because, yeah, I did. put,
So,
put the cart way before the horse.
so at what point did you decide you were going to pursue this?
Guys, I started. Well, basically, I there was a gap there for me even watching professional wrestling. But I want to say I started watching it around 20, maybe 22. Again, after a long period, and I decided that about 23, 24, I was going to do this thing. And lo and behold, I started working out at the gym, and I watched a couple indie shows. And then once I went to a couple indie shows, I was like, I definitely can handle this. And hit the gym, learned to wrestle, and after 4.5 years, signed my contract with WWE.
That's pretty cool. Where'd you train at?
I trained at a place called the Hart Brothers School of Wrestling in Cambridge, Ontario. It was what they called the Black Hearts because it wasn't the dungeon in Calgary. It was a shyster spinoff.
Well, it did its purpose, as we could all see. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it a shyster spinoff. It worked.
You know what? That's what I saw it as. I was fortunate enough to live close and be able to go down and meet the guy that was running it, and he was quite the carny, and I knew that he was kind of taking kids for rides, but I knew that there was a ring in the we didn't have much of a room space overhead, but there was a ring that I could get in and learn how to hone my craft and learn how to pro wrestle and basically get out on the road. After some training, get out on the road and do my thing, and basically living the dream.
So how was working the indies? You said for 4.5 years.
It was pretty good. Back then it's a long time ago now because I did the indies in 2001 to 2004 and a half there to 2005 kind of. So it was a lot of fun. Um, I left Ontario in the Hart Brothers School of Wrestling, and basically me and my tag team partner traveled throughout the states in different places and didn't didn't actually establish roots in Ontario before until we actually right before we signed with WWE.
So how did all that process? What made WWE? How did the tryout come, and how did the you getting your developmental deal come about?
Well, basically, me and my tag team partner Rory, we'd travel 8 to 9 hours out to Massachusetts from Ontario, and we would go and do Dr. Tom Pritchard seminars, and basically rub elbows with Dr. Tom and start. He opened the door, give you the phone number. You start pound. You call him every week and hound him, and before you know it, you're getting backstage and you're doing your thing. And it wasn't easy backstage because we had went there for about a year and a half, and then we were told that we'd never get jobs there, and but we didn't look like the Highlanders, and then all of a sudden, they told John Laurinaitis basically said, go find, disappear for a while, come back and show us something different because we could take, we were clean cut guys, chin strap beards, and while John Laurinaitis liked my look, my partner was a little shorter. There's some bald guys on the roster, chin strap beards, so we didn't stand out. So all of a sudden, we basically had to go to the drawing board and really kind of figure something out to stand out. And lo and behold, we grew these beards and basically looked shaggy like we were from the 14th century, and Vince McMahon loved us.
That's
Thank
awesome.
God. Thank
Yeah.
God.
So from the time you started wrestling to when you finally got to WWE, well, technically, what I'm trying to say is, did you always picture yourself as a tag team wrestler, or did you want to be a singles wrestler starting out?
Well, when I started, I was going to be a singles, but I ended up meeting Rory at the school, and that's just kind of how it worked. And you know, it is what it is. I would have liked to have tried. I would have liked to try a singles run at WWE, but it wasn't in the cards because technically, uh, I believe Rory and I didn't give ourselves we didn't give the company a reason to keep us really. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
people can say the TNA incident got the Highlanders fired or this and that, and number one they always say TNA, but what really got the Highlanders fired was we didn't give creative we weren't pushing ourselves and politicking and giving creative ideas every week. Like, you know, if someone was to say different, I was there. I know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I personally know that that I personally feel that we didn't do anything to keep ourselves there. So that's just how it wasn't one single incident. You
Mm-hmm.
know, uh, before I was ever saw at TNA, you know, I'm losing to midgets every week. So like that tells me different things that
Mm-hmm.
know, now that I look back then I didn't look at it that way or anything. I just looked at it and was pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
But over the years and reflecting on things that overall I know that I personally didn't do anything to keep the Highlanders there, and I didn't personally. I, because I went there with Rory, I didn't want to stab him in the back, and maybe I wasn't cut out for the real hard part of wrestling. I'm a great entertainer and I can wrestle and do all that, but maybe I wasn't cut out because I'm a nice guy. Maybe I wasn't cut out for all that backstabbing that everybody does, and that's just how it is. That's
Mm-hmm.
the bit. So maybe I'll write my own music and I'll have a couple number one hits, but that'll only be because it was my music. It wasn't because I kissed somebody's ass or you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's just how it is. That's you said I could say whatever I wanted, so
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
absolutely,
absolutely.
absolutely.
but that wasn't anything bad anyhow. It's just
No.
just explaining that
Yeah.
I'm not the ass kissing type, and I don't like wrestling did make me a little bit different of a person than who I really am. Maybe not for the good, but either or. I didn't I didn't stab Rory in the back, and we did it together. We went out together, and after that, I tried to get back in. I didn't do enough before to give them even a shot to take me back. So it's all good. Like
Yeah.
I'm just turning 50 next, or coming up this month in March, and I really, and technically in life I'm retired, so
Hmm.
I'm doing okay. I don't need wrestling, or I don't really need anything, but
Hmm.
I'll do something else with life, because
Oh yeah.
technically I'm an entertainer. I know what I am, so you know.
And a lot of people wouldn't have that thought process. It would be wrestling or nothing, and their life is over. And
No, no, I'm an entertainer, and I write music and write my own tunes and stuff, and I haven't produced any or been in the recording studio, but I never played guitar all my life either. I tried it when I was, I think, 12 years old. I might have put it 4 or 5 hours into it, and I never played it again until 2013, where I put a whole 5 hours in a year for 10 years.
There you go.
Well, maybe 8 years, and then now I actually play it a lot, and I write music, and
Yeah.
uh, the more I play it, I figure out other people's music, and so it's I didn't. That was another dream when I was a kid, was to be a rock star, but I guess I just didn't follow through because I couldn't play that guitar, but it'll happen maybe. I'll record.
I
I'll,
could
I'll at
totally,
least record music.
yeah.
I can relate with that for sure. I played guitar in high school. When I started in middle school, and then once I got out of high school, went to college, and got out of college and started doing wrestling, I stopped playing guitar. But just this past Christmas, my father-in-law bought me a little guitar to start picking on again. So I'll probably start picking it up again to start playing some music again too. So
Yeah, it's great. Like I love, like, when I'm sitting around bored, I just pick it up and come up with something.
oh yeah.
So, how was your time in OVW?
Um, you know, OVW was. I'll be straight up honest. It was okay,
Hmm.
but I know when we went there, we weren't really expected to stay there. They were going to put us right on the main roster, and it never happened. And that kind of set us back. And that little setback there might have been another reason that we didn't get, the cards didn't fall where they could have, because, like, everything, timing is everything. And
Hmm.
if we would have got in there and got on the road right away, started working Rosie and Hurricane, it could have been a whole different ball game, because we might have picked up some things from them, and they might have taught us some things that would have been helpful for us when we had work guys like Kane and Murdoch, and some other guys that are really more cutthroat of the business.
Hmm.
Right.
You know,
And it seems like they had a lot of tag teams in that era. A lot.
they did, uh, but at the same time they didn't really use them a lot.
Hmm. That's the bad thing about it.
Yep.
Was there a reason why they didn't put you on the road right away, or they just feel like you needed to go through their
Well,
developmental process?
what happened was, it took time to get our visas, so that put a setback that we couldn't get right on the road. Because when they gave us contracts and we signed them, we were on the road the next week in Canada, working on the house shows.
Wow.
Uh,
We were working, like, we were working Miz and Matt Capitelli, and then a couple weeks later we were back on the road doing, not house shows, but the TVs, and things were going good. But then we couldn't get on the because we couldn't uh, get the visas to work right away. It turned into a timing issue, and then never it never we never got into the program we wanted to get in right away, and
hmm
things take their toll and go different ways. So
It is unfortunate.
yeah.
it seems like everyone we've talked to that that's has visa. They've always had visa issues right when they get signed. Like it's not as easy as they make it sound. It
No,
takes.
no. Like you're basically convincing the United States government that you're better than an American to come work for them. Technically, take an American's job, so you basically got to prove to to them that you're really who you are and what you do is better than, or they need it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So was there any when you did OVW for a little bit and then you finally got your call up? Was there any original plans for you guys, or was it just what they presented on TV?
uh, well, basically, when we first came in, we were going to be vicious heels, and then we came in and we were baby faces, and we got to do the vignettes, and those were all cool and everything. But that might have been the curse because everybody that gets vignettes usually usually doesn't end up. I can go back as far as Outback Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in vignettes, and I think I saw him on TV twice and never saw him again.
No, I've never really thought about that, but that is quite true. Vignettes are kind of a curse.
Yeah, and guys that had vignettes years and years ago, they were already established characters. But
Hmm.
if guy coming in, Dick Slater had a bunch of vignettes, and how long did he last in WWE?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? If you go back to my time frame of the late '80s, early '90s, you're looking at a lot of guys that came in and out that door. You
Hmm.
know, some what I want to say something Borga or something.
Ludwig, yeah.
Yeah, there are all kinds of guys that had vignettes, didn't do much.
Hmm.
It was one of Vince's great ideas, and you know.
So they just put all the time and effort into the vignette, and just when you got there, they're like, "Yeah."
And the thing was, we made the vignettes what they were. We made
Hmm.
them fun, but once we got there, that didn't make us serious enough to. We ended up on. We did some Raw, and then we did a good year of Heat, a good year and a half of Heat or something, and you know it, we didn't get the limelight we wanted, but
Hmm.
it is what
Yeah.
it is.
What I recall, and for me, I've always loved gimmicks. I hate how there's just wrestlers now are just a different name and a different finisher. There is no real gimmick hardly at all anymore. But I love good gimmicks, and for me, like you said, it was a kind of a playful gimmick almost because I got the like a bushwhacker feel from you guys because
Yeah, yeah.
100%. And I loved it. I mean, but some of my favorite gimmicks are the ones that give me that, make me feel like a kid watching wrestling again. Like Santino Marella was one of my, absolute favorites just because you didn't have to take it as serious. And, that the beauty of professional wrestling for me is the suspension of belief, that you can cheer for people because you like the way they are. But I unfortunately I think that not as many people believe the way I do when it comes to that, and it can be the death of a good gimmick.
Well,
Because
it's weird because when we came in, we were kind of like the only kind of gimmick,
Hmm.
and just every once in a while, only the odd gimmick sticks. There was Boogeyman, and then there's just the odd gimmick gets to stick around now. It's just, but when I watched it when I was a kid, everybody was a gimmick,
Hmm.
and even though everybody was a gimmick, and everybody almost got put into a situation if they were a heel that they got to work Hulk Hogan. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It,
right,
and nowadays they don't they don't use enough guys in the. I personally think they don't use enough guys in the hunt. Like, you know what I mean? But then again, there's so many titles now that you know.
right. It's the yeah the whole title scene is way too saturated. I will, yeah.
there should be one woman's title, one men's title, and a tag team title. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
maybe the Intercontinental. And I don't think they need. There's more men wrestlers than women, so I don't think they don't need a second belt for women. A tag team belt would be fine.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That's just
The
my personal.
champions, they should work both shows instead of having.
Yeah, and then actually they could. I believe they could introduce more guys into fighting for that title instead of the same old, same old. It's.
Hmm.
I don't watch it much, so I don't know if it is the same old, but it seems to be. Whenever I scroll through Facebook and see the same stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't change much these days.
Yeah.
So how has life been after WWE?
Uh, life after, like, when I actually first left WWE and was wrestling, I still did from 2008 to 2014. Went hard and
Hmm.
did professional wrestling full time as a gig. And then in 2014, I actually uh, I packed it in for a bit and just did a show here and there. And it was great to me. And last year, I did over 80 shows last year, and I had a great time. And I got some tours lined up and stuff for this year, but uh, I'm coming into 50, and after last year's 80 shows, I got into the game late. My body was already broken, and
Hmm.
I basically how I make my living now is I'll find an old house and I'll do all the work myself and I'll make a lot of money on the house and move on to the next one and it's a pretty easy life, but also ripping studs out of houses, it gets sore on the body and then taking bumps and stuff. I think I'm coming into my last year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm gonna retire, but
Hmm.
I'm coming into my last year of working, a lot of shows.
Yeah.
But but
Absolutely.
life after WWE and professional wrestling for me was good. I did really well all the way until after for six solid years I made a good living, and then I went and did a sales career for 8 years and put me into a position where I don't even need to work. Well,
Good.
I need to work, but it's just I can live in my house and work, and I'm fortunate enough I don't have a mortgage, so it's just I buy the house and I fix it up and I sell it. I'm not borrowing anybody's money or anything. I'm in a I busted my ass to put myself into a good position, and I'm very fortunate, I think.
It's great.
Absolutely. So
That's
you're
awesome.
doing that, and you're playing the guitar, and it just seems like life's been good.
Yep, and like I was saying earlier that music was one of my dreams, and I will record. I'll record some stuff and put it on Spotify. I can't say when, but when I say I'm going to do it, I do it.
Yeah.
It's like I said I was going to be a wrestler. It took me 3 or 4 years to get in the ring or whatever, but it just everything. You're planting seeds and it happens.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely.
when you do release your music, let us know and we will absolutely plug the hell out of it for you.
All right, all right.
I got one more question for you. If there was any advice you could give to anybody getting into professional wrestling, what would it be?
Uh, well, I think if you want, personally, if you're getting into pro wrestling and you want to be in pro wrestling, I believe that you have to put all of it in and not just want to be a weekend warrior. Just an indie wrestler. You gotta want to make that commit. You know, some guys don't want to be in WWE. They just want to do it. But so I guess that advice is kind of no good either. Um, maybe learn some things that can make you money because wrestling isn't unless you're at the working for the big companies. And but
Hmm.
nowadays some indie wrestling's paying pretty good. So,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
learned something that makes you other money. besides
Oh
wrestling.
yeah, always have a backup plan.
Yeah, I never did. When I got into wrestling, I had no backup plan, so everything just kind of fell into place with my backup plan after.
Well,
That's definitely a good thing.
I had no backup plan, but I ended up with one.
well, I just want to say thank you for coming on today. Thank you for all you've done for professional wrestling. You were a part of us growing up, and I greatly appreciate you and your time today.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have a great night.
All right, cheers, guys.
See ya.
Cheers.
Hey everybody, it's Morty.
It's Brian.
And thank you for watching today's episode of Developmentally Speaking.
If you could, please click that subscribe button.
And don't forget to punch that bell icon so you can get notified whenever we go live or drop a new video every Monday. Well, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next
Developmentally Speaking.